Modern Warfare has some of the most hardcore defenders, but also the most enraged of haters. People's opinions seem to be so extreme on the game, they either love it to death or wish death upon it. However, I think these two different groups can agree that the launch maps were questionable to say the least. Grasna Raid has one of the weirdest layouts I've seen, and the many buildings slow down the gameplay, the outer areas just seem unnecessary. It was also one of those maps that were so big that you could use the IAV, which was a giant tank kill streak that wasn't available on regular 6v6 maps. Or Piccadilly, considered by many to be the worst map of all time. There were so many head glitches, having parts of the map that seemed useless, feeling very one-sided, bunch of camping spots. I can understand why this is at the very bottom of all Call of Duty maps. However, there's one map that I feel is actually worse than Piccadilly. Rushers and campers, I present to you Euphrates Bridge. Take a good look at this and remember the trauma this Forsaken map has caused you. Or maybe you never played this before and I'm just wasting your time. Right out of the gate, the main part of the map is obviously the bridge. I mean, it's in the name. And oh my goodness, this bridge is the worst part of the map since it overlooks both spawns. So if one team manages to capture this bridge, they are almost guaranteed to win. The average player will have trouble trying to break this, and that means that it becomes one-sided fun. I mean, even pros, I bet, had trouble on this map, because of how high the high ground is. It's ridiculous. With Backlot, yes, it does have that middle building where you can climb to the top and overlook a decent amount of the map, but that's somewhat balanced since the platform up there is so small, so enemies can pinpoint you easily. Euphrates Bridge's bridge is so big that you're going to have trouble finding the enemy on there, especially if you're not using any long-range guns. There are 4 ways to get onto this bridge. Both teams have the stairs that lead up to it and ladders that bring into the middle, so 2 ways to get up onto the bridge on each side. That's not enough. First of all, to even get to the stairs, you have to run out in the open, in the line of sight of anyone who is on the bridge. Good luck. But the ladders are worse since you have to do the same thing, but you have to do it for longer because the ladder is more in the middle of the bridge. And when you're on the ladder, we all know, you only have your pistol available, if you even have a pistol. And let me tell you, people who sit on the bridge are aware of these paths, so you can barely sneak up on them. And if you even manage to get onto the bridge, you still have to kill these guys. If you don't kill all of them, you die and your team doesn't care about the bridge, then the enemies are just gonna come back to the bridge and your hard work goes to waste. This bridge is the main problem with this map. But there's more, unfortunately. While the other areas aren't that bad compared to the bridge, they still suck. Because of how big this map is, there are some unpredictable camping spots that really grind my gears. You can sit in this bus, which doesn't seem practical, especially when your team is up on the bridge. But some people would still sit here and stop me from flanking from the bottom of the bridge. Yeah, I know it's smart, but come on. It's the same situation with this spot here. Call it a skill issue or whatever, I find it frustrating, okay? The back spawns are also ridiculous. This is one of those maps that extends the back spawns way too much, which results in you having to run for a while. Why the hell is this so far? This is an ongoing trend with these launch maps and it's frustrating. It's even more annoying if you are one of the players trying to push the bridge, you end up dying, and then you spawn so far so you're forced to run for 10 million years. In this clip, I have a UAV active, and while I am somewhat on their side of the bridge, they shouldn't be spawning this far. Look at how far they're spawning. That is way too far in the back of the map. It shouldn't be like this. In terms of game modes, every mode that it was available on except for Hardpoint and Infected, they all sucked. I remember playing Hardpoint on this a bit, and you can at least somewhat break the spawns because Hardpoint does switch up the spawns quite a bit. But it still sucked. I'll talk about Infected in a bit. Now it is true that if you were the team dominating the match, you were probably having fun. And I can't deny that it wasn't. It's just that it relies way too much on who captured the bridge. This is legit the only map that feels like it has map control in this game, and I say that in the worst possible way. This power position is way too strong and is just so unbalanced. Euphrates Bridge is the only map where I wouldn't mind if the spawns were random. Now, I know I've been crapping on this map a lot, so was there anything good? Well, it was decent for long shots, especially for snipers, since many maps in the game didn't have line of sights far enough for the required long shot distance for these guns. It was also fun and infected. This is the one game mode where these big launch maps thrived. Where do you think the most effective camping spot was? It wasn't the bridge. The one game mode where the bridge was actually one of the worst spots to be in. It would actually be the Allegiance backspawn that would be the best, since the corner just extends so far, you have a safe distance from the infected, and while there are 3 paths they can take to get to you, a nuke is doable here. Of course, the last thing this map did well was appease to those who play the camping playstyle. I might not like it, but I can understand why some of you may have enjoyed it. Somewhat. Now, some of you may have forgotten about this map, even if you still play Modern Warfare, and I don't blame you. I believe sometime after the launch of the Modern Warfare, this map was moved strictly to 10v10, and it's been like that ever since. It was only available in 6v6 modes for a bit. For some reason, 10v10 isn't even in the game anymore, so you can't even play it there. It was also frequently in Infected, though the gameplay on screen is from a few years ago, and ever since they've messed with the map pool. I've played Infected quite a bit recently, and haven't run into it. There is a chance that it's still in that game mode, I'm just unlucky. There is one more way to play on this map, not that you'd ever want to, but you can try Hardcore. I can't confirm it myself, it's hard to find lobbies in Hardcore, though Reddit is positive that it's there. I believe that most people forget about this map, and since Piccadilly is so infamous, they of course labeled that as the worst map in the game. I think Piccadilly feels somewhat playable. Euphrates Bridge does not. It's so one-sided and it's not even funny.
The bridge ruins the entire map, is probably one of the most powerful power positions, at least in recent history, and I'm just glad that my playtime on this map was limited because I would not have been able to stay sane if this was in regular 6v6 rotation.